Hello and welcome to livealittlehigher.com. We continue learning from the book of the Beis HaLevi on love your fellow as yourself, as Ahavas Israel. And today we're learning from the Appendix E where it says, Re'im Ahuvim, Shalom Bait. And it says, very interestingly, it says that Ve'ahavta lereha kamoha. When you say, I love your fellow as yourself, it means to include your spouse. Here he's talking about the wife because it's very important that the husbands love their wives as they love themselves, that they treat their wives beautiful. The blessing of the home comes through the woman, and the better the husband is with the wife, the more blessed he's going to be. So the Beis HaLevi quotes the sages who teach that one must be very careful at how he acts at home. And this aspect is often overlooked. We're thinking that we have to be kind to the outside world. We have to be kind to people that we see in the streets. And we forget that really the most important people that we need to be kind to is our spouses, our children, our parents, our siblings. And it says the ones that are closest to us. However, there's a famous saying that states that charity begins at home. Kindness, love and kindness begins in your home. And as we will soon see, this is to soon see more than anyone else in the home, one first and foremost focus should be on one's spouse. So the person that we have to really work on being kind to is our better half. And the Gemara states in Kiddushim that it's forbidden for a man to marry a woman before seeing her. And this means that even though technically one can send an agent to betroth a woman, which was a very common practice in the olden days, as we learned in Parasha Hayesara, that Eliezer went to look for a wife for Yitzhak, and he came back with Rivka. He cannot marry her unless she accepts. Like, they have to see each other first and say, yes, I'm going to marry this person. So it says, why the Gemara explains, it's possible that when you see her, you might see something that displeases you, and then she will be displeased in your eyes. So it's very important that when you marry someone that you like. You cannot marry someone that you dislike, and we see from this parasha of Vayetze, the last parasha, where Yaakov is going to marry Rachel, and the father Laban puts Leah before Rachel, and he wakes up the next day, and it's not Rachel, it's Leah. We see that he really didn't love her so much. It was hard for him to love her. So from here we understand that it's important that a couple, before they get married, they should really like each other. So it says that now if one has asked why not seeing one's betrothed before marriage is so terrible, the immediate response would be because the Shalom Bait would be disastrous and the family would be dysfunctional, and very likely the marriage would end in divorce. However, the Gemara gives a different reason. And the Torah says, Ve'achta la'areha kamoha. It's plain and simple. The lesson is that the very same mitzvah that applies to your friend, neighbor, and colleague applies to your wife. And that we have to love our spouse like we love ourselves. So the Sefer Habris, he writes something that seems bizarre, and he says that that people are careful not to harm anyone they love, and they honor them, but they may hate their wives. Like, people are so careful with the other people, but they don't really love their wives. And they think that this is not sinful because they think their wives are their possessions. And the person's wife is like himself, so therefore is that he can hate her. And here what it's saying is that no, the husband cannot hate the wife. He has to love her like himself. And he continues, they don't realize that their sin is so great to bear, even more than if they would act this way towards any other person. So the words are frightening. The one area of Bein Adam lehavero, in which some people are most lacking, these are mitzvot between people, not between you and God, but between you and your fellow. The one that is most lacking is the one in which we're lacking to love our family members. And this is huge. Really, if we want to have peace in the world, peace begins in the home. And really it begins with you. You have to have love for yourself in order to be able to love the people around you. And when you love the people around you, then you can love the people outside of your home. But if it doesn't start there, everything else is false. It's not true. It's not real. So the Rambam says, our sages commanded us that a man must respect his wife more than himself and love her like himself. And this is actually a Gemara. But the Rambam adds the words, our sages commanded us. This is the perplexing. Why must the Rambam stress that one must love his wife as he loves himself? Why does he have to stress it so much? Why is he saying that this mitzvah is specifically talking about the wife? So it says that that regarding this question, Rav Moshe Mordechai Schulsinger writes that we must wait until the resurrection of the dead, Techias HaMesim, to ask the Rambam himself this question. And he'll give us the answer. But perhaps we can explain this based on the above citation from the Sefer HaBris, where the Rambam is cautioning that one must realize that the mitzvah of V'ahavta le'arecha kamoha applies to the wife as well, and in fact she's more important than anyone else. So if you really want to have blessing in your life, you have to be very kind, very loving to your spouse. Here he's talking about the wife, but in reality it goes both ways. The thing is that a wife loves her husband. It's easier for a wife to love the husband. For the husband, it's harder to love the wife. When the man treats the woman like a queen, the response of the wife is she's going to treat him like a king. But not necessarily when the wife is treating the husband like a king, he's going to treat her like a queen. So that's why he's really pointing the wife, because you hear there's more and more problems from husbands not being kind to their wives than wives not being kind to their husbands. And there's a beautiful story here of a man that he was desperate. He couldn't stand his wife, and he went to a town. He went away for a few days to get away from his house and relax a little bit. And he came to Naharia, and when he gets there, he gets to the synagogue. The rabbi in the synagogue is asking him, what are you doing here? He says, no, I'm on a vacation. And he asks him, do you have where to stay? This is a very common Jewish custom. And he says, no, actually I haven't looked where to sleep. And the rabbi says, come to my house, I invite you, come to my house. So he comes to the house, and he sees that the next morning, the first thing the rabbi does is he takes a glass of milk to the wife and to the bedroom. The second day, he does the same thing. The first thing he does when he wakes up, he fills a glass of milk and takes it to the wife. By the third day, he says, oh, this woman must be sick. What am I doing in her house? I'm a burden here. So he goes to the rabbi and says, I'm so sorry. I didn't know your wife was not feeling well. I think it's better that I leave. And the rabbi said, why would you say she's not feeling well? Who told you that? He says, no, because I see that every day the first thing you do in the morning is you take a glass of milk to your wife to the bedroom. And so I assume she's not feeling well. So he says, no, I am taking this glass of milk because the first thing I do in the morning is I fulfill the mitzvah of love your fellow as yourself. And I do with my wife because she's my fellow. She's the first fellow I see in the morning, so I take her a glass of milk. I'm not going to wait till I get to the synagogue to give a coin to a person that is needing money. That's the first thing I do in the morning, is I fulfill this mitzvah. So every time that you have the opportunity to be kind and loving to your spouse, don't even think about it. Take it as a mitzvah. Take it as like when you eat kosher, or you're keeping Shabbat, or you're giving tzedakah, or you're helping someone else. It is a mitzvah to love your fellow as yourself, and it begins in your home. It begins with the person that is most close to you. So I want to leave you here. Wish you a blessed week, and remember, live a little higher. Thank you.